Stage clear.
Time Crisis is one of the most iconic arcade shooters of all time, and it finally has a faithful VR successor to bring the arcade memories home. Aim Assault has just launched on SteamVR and Quest, straight into the full release, skipping early access. As someone who grew up playing shooters in arcades, I've waited years for a Time Crisis port, as it's a perfect fit for VR with full motion controls and physical dodging. The campaign consists of 11 levels, 3 of which are night modes, and also an aim training mode to hone your accuracy and reaction time. As you reach the harder difficulties in the campaign, you'll realize why this training mode is necessary. It may not sound like much content, but each level can be replayed with different weapons in either single or dual world.
Action.
Stage clear.
Personally, I prefer a single gun so I can focus on speed and accuracy, which has always been the focus of Time Crisis.
Action.
Stage clear. Stage clear.
If you're a trophy collector or completionist, there's also a lot of hidden items to find and collect.
You can't beat me! I always win!
Stage clear.
Being an arcade game, there's also a big focus on high scores, with individual leaderboards for each level, mode, gun, and single or dual world modes. It's ranked by the fastest time, but it also tracks your combos for those with sharp accuracy.
Action.
The graphics are surprisingly good and have improved since the early demos. There are 3 graphical levels and also post-processing and shadows. I would strongly recommend disabling post-processing though, as the smoke in some levels can make it almost impossible to spot some enemies, which in a game that requires quick reflexes is a real disadvantage. There's also plenty of destruction, which is very satisfying. The only problem is this game moves so quick that you don't really have a chance to shoot the environment, unless you're going all out with the dual pistols.
Reload.
Despite looking like a casual arcade shooter, the difficulty is actually pretty intense, which I did not expect. There are 4 difficulty levels in total: easy, medium, one shot, and instant death. Medium is what you'll be mostly playing, as it's a good balance. One shot is significantly harder as you can only take 1 hit, so you need to be very aware of all incoming shots to dodge in time. Lastly, instant death is the Dark Souls of Aim Assault, as you need to quickly shoot every enemy right after they spawn.
What?
Because the instant the enemy shoots, it's game over. So unlike one-shot mode, you don't even get a chance to dodge. As soon as the enemy blinks, you're done. This was basically impossible for me, and I wasn't able to complete a single level. So you either need to memorize the enemy spawns, or have lightning quick reflexes. Although this probably explains why there's an aim training mode.
Action.
In Time Crisis, you had a foot pedal to duck in the game, but in Aim Assault we have to physically duck and dodge in every direction, so it's actually a lot more of a workout than you'd expect. Although most of the time you'll be weaving left and right instead of ducking. But once you get halfway through the game, it becomes significantly harder in even the medium difficulty.
Now it's over!
In fact, I haven't felt this kind of physical challenge since Pistol Whip and Super Hot, which is something I did not expect from this game.
Just a shadow in the dust, and I am the sky above it!
There's also very little time to dodge, and unlike Time Crisis, there's no warning shot indicator, which to me is what makes this so challenging. As the graphics and environment are so detailed, it can be hard to spot incoming shots sometimes. However, the biggest difference is that unlike almost all VR wave shooters, there is no indicator for enemies outside your field of view. In the first few levels, this is okay, as most enemies are in your narrow line of sight. But in the later levels, they can spawn in a wider range, so you need to be looking and listening to spot them in time. To me, this is more of a design flaw rather than a challenge, as there simply isn't enough time to react and aim at every enemy on screen. Not to mention, it's very standard to have enemy indicators outside your FOV in most wave shooters these days. There are two other games inspired by Time Crisis that I'd also recommend: Crisis Brigade 2 and one of my favorite mixed reality games, Spatial Ops, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated games in VR. Unlike Aim Assault, you're not just dodging in one spot, but in a larger area, and because it's in mixed reality, you can actually move around and see your room. This game constantly reminded me of Time Crisis, as it has very similar gameplay, but also felt a lot more immersive due to the room scale movement in mixed reality. From now until the end of the year, you can also get 20% off all Quest games with my code VRCT, which also brings the game down from $17.99 to $14.39.
This is the end of the line! No more running!
As a fan of Time Crisis and wave shooters in general, this might be one of the best I've played. So if you're up for a real challenge in a game that will put your accuracy and reflexes to the test, it's an easy recommendation. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and if there's any other similar games that you'd recommend. If you found this review helpful, leave a like and hit the subscribe if you want to see more like this. Until then, I'll see you in the next.